I heard this story from a former U.S. Marine who served in Afghanistan. Let's call him Daniel. Daniel told me that one of the strangest nights of his deployment happened during a routine sweep of a bombed-out village. The sun had already set, and the only light came from distant fires still burning from the earlier airstrike. Smoke hung in the air like a thick curtain. Their squad was moving silently down a narrow road when Daniel saw something. A silhouette standing between the ruins of two collapsed houses. At first, he thought it was an enemy soldier, but something felt off. The figure wasn't holding a weapon. It wasn't moving, not even slightly. Daniel whispered to the others, "There's someone standing at 11 o'clock. His squad took cover, guns ready, but the figure didn't react. It just stood there, a pitch-black outline shaped like a human, but too still, almost too tall. Another Marine whispered, "Why isn't it running?" Daniel slowly raised his night vision scope and froze. It wasn't a person. Through night vision, it looked like a void, a hole in the world. No heat signature, no definition, just an absence, like something that absorbed the light around it. Suddenly, the shape tilted its head like it was observing him. Not threatening, just watching. Daniel whispered, "What the hell is that?" Before anyone could answer, the figure took a single step sideways and disappeared behind the wall. The squad rushed toward the spot, sweeping with flashlights, night vision, thermal. Nothing. No footprints. No disturbed dust. No shadow retreating. The ground was untouched. But here's the disturbing part. 2 days later, a different squad walking through the same area reported seeing a tall, shadowy shape standing perfectly still among the rubble. Same description. Same behavior. Same chilling stillness. And when Daniel rotated back home, he started looking up stories from soldiers in Iraq, Syria, Bosnia. Even old Vietnam accounts. A shocking number described the same thing. Pitch-black human shapes standing quietly in the distance, watching the battlefield like silent observers. Never attacking. Never interacting. Just there. Daniel told me, "I'm not saying they're ghosts or something supernatural, but whatever they are, they're not normal shadows, and they're not in our world the way we are." Every time he remembers that night, he swears he can still feel the sensation of being watched by something that shouldn't exist. This next story comes from a British soldier named Harper who served in Iraq. Harper said there's one thing every veteran talks about, no matter the country or the conflict: the unnatural silence that comes before certain attacks. Now, silence in war is normal sometimes, but this was different. Harper described a night where his unit was stationed near an abandoned warehouse. They had intelligence suggesting insurgents might be hiding nearby, so everyone was on edge. But around 2 a.m., something strange happened. The world went quiet. Not normal quiet, unnaturally quiet. Crickets stopped. Wind stopped. Even the buzzing in electrical lines faded. It felt like the entire world paused, he said. Like someone pressed mute on reality. Harper looked around and noticed the same fear on everyone's faces. They all sensed it, that heavy, suffocating pressure in the air. The radio glitched. First static, then complete silence. Even though the power was fine. Harper whispered, "What the hell is happening?" But nobody spoke, because in that moment, the silence felt almost alive. Then, without warning, boom! A mortar slammed into the ground less than 20 meters away. The explosion shook the earth so violently that Harper felt his bones vibrate. 2 more mortars followed, each one landing with horrifying precision. The entire unit dropped for cover. Adrenaline hit like lightning. But what terrified Harper wasn't the attack. It was what came right before it. That silence, that pressure, that absolute stillness. Because here's the thing. It kept happening. Every time an attack was coming, sometimes seconds before, sometimes minutes, the world would fall into that quiet, suffocating pause. He couldn't explain it. No one could. Some soldiers said it was instinct, humans sensing danger before it happens. Others whispered that war zones have presences, things you feel before you see. Harper said, "I've never been religious. I don't even believe in psychic stuff. But that silence? That felt like a warning. Like something out there knew what was coming. And everything else went still because of it." And even today, years after leaving the military, Harper says there are moments in civilian life, late at night or during a storm, when he feels that same kind of silence. And every time he does, a part of him expects an explosion. This testimony comes from a Canadian soldier named Javier, who served in Syria working alongside international forces. The battlefields were filled with smoke, thick, chemical-burning smoke that swallowed the horizon during active combat. But one particular night stuck with Javier forever. A convoy had been hit. Vehicles burned violently, sending huge waves of black smoke into the sky. Javier and his squad were waiting for backup, while keeping enemy snipers at bay. That's when one of the men said, "Do you see that?" Javier looked up, and at first he thought his teammate was just stressed. But then he saw it too. In the rising smoke, something was forming. A shape. A face. It appeared only for a second, but clear enough that Javier felt his stomach twist. The face looked like it was screaming, eyes wide open, mouth stretched in agony. It dissolved, then reshaped again into another contorted expression. Then another. Javier blinked hard, thinking it was a hallucination. But the soldier next to him whispered, trembling, "I've been seeing them since Mosul. They show up every time something big burns." More soldiers started noticing. Not just one face, but many. Dozens. Twisting through the smoke like trapped souls begging to be released. Some faces looked angry. Others looked terrified. Some looked like they were calling out for help. Javier tried to rationalize it. Human brains make patterns, especially under stress. But he couldn't explain this. When the wind changed direction, the faces moved with it. They weren't random. They were following the flow, like something inside the smoke had form and intention. A medic who'd been silent the whole time suddenly said, "Stop staring at them. If you focus on them too long, they follow you into your dreams." Everyone stopped talking, because he sounded dead serious. Later, after the mission, Javier researched smoke hallucinations and pareidolia. But none of that eased his mind, because he saw the faces again. In the steam of a shower, in the reflection of exhaust fumes, in the fog of cold mornings, always screaming, always twisted. He told me, war leaves marks on the land, on buildings, on people. Maybe it leaves something behind in the smoke too. Even now, Javier refuses to stay near bonfires. He says the moment the smoke rises straight up, he starts seeing faces.